Guys, I wanted to take a look today at the Paul Newman and Robert Redford of our time. The two of the most charismatic men, I would say, who have ever lived. Of course, I'm talking about Ted Cruz and, Michael Knowles.
Senator, I have to compliment you. You have now very famously read and quoted Dr. Seuss and Lord Acton on the floor of the Senate. That is a very broad spectrum of reading.
Two of the most charismatic guys, totally normal guys who are really relatable.
Mr. President, those words were true in 1887, and they're true today.
Who just don't, especially Michael Knowles, does not seem computer generated at all or anything like that.
Conservatives are finally fighting back in a tangible way against big tech censorship.
Just two normal guys saying normal things in a very expensive studio, doing a show that clearly takes a lot of money to produce.
You can French kiss the guy next to you.
Nancy Pelosi issued a decree that anyone in the House must wear a mask, even if you're vaccinated. She said that if you're a member of the House and you walk onto the floor without a mask, that she will fine you.
You gotta love this guy.
Abolish the police.
What's funny here is that this lady...
People think that the President of the United States has the power for debt forgiveness. He does not.
Here's what she's been up to this week. Nancy Pelosi's surprise flip on student debt cancellation came after urging from billionaire power couple. The House Speaker's change of heart came after Stephen and Mary Swig, that's kind of a cool name actually, circulated a memo against cancellation via executive order.
He does not.
Pretty much the exact same thing happened with the eviction moratorium thing. Democrats took big real estate money, then let the eviction ban expire. So I gotta hand it to him actually, to Ted Cruz, because he can really fill time. Like, this is something when I was a kid, I used to listen to, like, sports talk radio and stuff like that, and these guys would just literally just fill time. A lot of this they were just like, this is my slot, and I gotta say something, and they would literally, it would just be like words with no meaning. And Ted Cruz, I gotta hand it to him, he does fill 49 minutes with nothing, just about masks. He's just like, we don't want to wear masks inside of this old, I don't want to wear masks in this decrepit old building filled with fossils that I go to do nothing all day. I don't want to wear a mask. And he literally fills 49 minutes with that on this thing that's not getting great views. They're running ads for this. I got this as an ad, by the way. Still not very good views. People are not interested. That is a real hit to the ego. If not even with these like billionaires backing you with tons and tons of YouTube ads, people are still like, no, thank you. YouTube's like, I don't know, like pretty much if you advertise anything, even if it's a blatant scam, like you're pretending to be Mr. Beast or something, and just give us your credit card number.
I got this pop-up ad saying that Mr. Beast was giving away $1,000. Now, of course, I clicked on it because who the hell wouldn't want $1,000?
Even that would get like 100,000 views. This thing is not. Nobody wants this. Nobody wants this. So yeah, it just shows you how phony baloney this is. Even if you're like, I don't know about Nancy Pelosi. I don't really know about that. I mean, all you really need to know is that her and this guy. Look at this face right here. Look at this face. They pretty much agree on this stuff. That's why he's not talking about the real stuff, because he's just like, I could just fill this time with masks. I could just fill 50 minutes with the masks, and these idiots will eat it up. Because, fundamentally, I agree on that. Kick poor people out of their homes after a pandemic, and don't have a functioning educational system. But what about healthcare? Don't even talk about that. I mean, that's so far. We're not even going to mention that, because that's so not going to happen. Ted Cruz brings a raw charisma and coolness that you've only read about in those cool comic books about superheroes. Ted Cruz brings a raw charisma and coolness that we've only heard about in the films of Hollywood.
First person not to wear a mask was Rand Paul, and Rand never wore a mask. And look, I love Rand, but he just said, to hell with it, I'm not wearing a mask. And Rand had COVID, and he never wore a mask. And so, okay, that was his choice.
That was his choice. That was his choice. I wonder if Ted Cruz raises his kids like this, you know? That's their choice. Oh, hey, your kid is taking a dump at the Olive Garden. He's literally dumping his pants, and he's sort of dragging it the way that dogs do with their like legs kind of like spread out and they're drag. Your kid is doing, well, that's my kid's choice to do that. That's my kid's choice to do that, and I love freedom. So,
well, you know, even a CNN anchor pointed out the other day that the CDC has a big credibility problem. And there's no question, we've covered it on this show, that the public health officials have flip-flopped on everything.
I mean, look, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry to say this, but could you imagine you work your way, or however Ted Cruz got into the Ivy League colleges, all this crap, goes through all this crap to stay in the Senate, and he has to hang out with Michael Knowles. I mean, he's got to go into the bathroom and say, what am I doing, into the mirror, right? Or maybe not. But he's also, you could tell he's not totally out of it the way that like a guy like Rand Paul or some of these guys are, where they don't seem fully conscious, a lot of those guys. Ted Cruz does seem aware. So this must be there must be some real wacky stuff going on in this guy's head. I made it to the height of power. Yeah, and I get to hang out with a guy who is not charismatic enough to do like unboxing videos on YouTube. A guy who if I was looking to like, how do I install like an IKEA ceiling lamp? If it was Michael Knowles like doing the explainer video on how to, I'd be like, I can't. Just this guy is just too much of a turnoff. I got to watch from somebody else. And no offense to him on that, but he is the least interesting, the person who I wouldn't just cross a street to avoid, but I think jump out of a plane to avoid. This is another thing. There must be some polling or something happened, because he's always talking about Braveheart.
Only a couple of reporters who dared take their mask off, and again, they were almost like, you know, Mel Gibson and Braveheart or something. But let's go to...
That's funny, because this would be their version, like guys like Ted Cruz and his followers, the people who vote for him. That would be their version of Braveheart. It wouldn't be like fighting against a king or whatever Mel Gibson was running around in his underwear on that movie doing. It wouldn't be that. It wouldn't be them fighting with swords against a king. It would be them arguing with somebody. It would be about them arguing with somebody in the parking lot of an Old Navy or something. That's their Braveheart. So yeah, he's kind of goofing around, wasting everybody's time. And then, you know, sometimes when you're filling space, when you're filling airtime, when you're running that mouth, you're running that trap, you're doing this, because you got to get a 50-minute video out. Sometimes you run into a little bit more questionable territory.
Go to this argument about the unvaccinated are endangering others. And this week, I think the person who said it most offensively was Geraldo. So Geraldo was on Fox, and
going after the most powerful of people, the most powerful and the most like on people's minds. Like when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, well, wonder what Geraldo is gonna lay. Is Geraldo? Is that guy still on TV? Like, what is going on TV that Geraldo is still around?
Geraldo went on this rant on the 5 where he said, if you're unvaccinated, I'm going to paraphrase, but this is basically right. He said, if you're unvaccinated, then you're arrogant and you're rude and you're inconsiderate and you're jeopardizing everybody. And he was quite bombastic. I know that's hard to believe, Geraldo being bombastic, but just go with me on this. Here's the logical flaw. Geraldo presumably is vaccinated. If not, he's...
I love it's sort of like they're talking about a dog or something, because Geraldo does sound a little bit like a dog's name. That's just me. I wonder if Geraldo's got his shots. Does Geraldo have his shots? Do you think Geraldo's got all his papers? Will you watch Geraldo today? I'm going out of town. Will you watch Geraldo for a couple days? Geraldo, no! Geraldo, no! Yeah, it's a big day for us today. Geraldo got all his shots and his chip. We put it... We put a chip. Fox News has a chip in Geraldo in case he runs away.
A remarkable hypocrite, so I assume he's vaccinated. If he's vaccinated, the risk to him of getting COVID is extremely small, depending on which vaccine you got. If you got Pfizer or Moderna, the risks are somewhere in the neighborhood of 3% or maybe 5%, but they're very small. And if you do catch COVID, there's some small percentage of people who are vaccinated can catch COVID. If you do catch COVID, the risks of it being serious, of you being hospitalized or dying, are very, very small. Now, is there some possibility that someone who's unvaccinated will pass the disease on to someone else who's unvaccinated? Yes. But you know what? That someone else who's unvaccinated, they made their damn choice. You're assuming that risk. If you say...
So, just to sum this up, this Ivy League doofus, this waste of space, his argument is, look, if you got the vaccine, good for you. These people want to pass COVID around to each other. It's their choice. These people want to cough into each other's faces and eternally pass around COVID forever. What's your problem with that? What problem would you have with that? I mean, of course, I probably don't even need to say this, right? But this guy is a scam artist. He's a scam artist who, really, really seems to have been hit in the head or something. Remember that guy? There was a guy that you probably heard about in psychology class in school who got a pole through his head or something, and he was a nice guy, and then he got a pole through his head because he was a construction worker or some crap, and then he was a not. I think I might be oversimplifying this story a lot, but he was a not nice guy after the pole through his head. Ted Cruz is almost pole through the head sociopathic to say stuff like this to his bonehead followers. But I mean, here's just a couple little problemos with this. This is, of course, Florida, the state that I'm from, a deeply stupid state that we're all very proud of. Gainesville area hospitals postponed some surgeries, ambulances in short supply. So yeah, a bunch of people getting really sick and needing ventilators and all this care and all this crap causes other problemos. There's other crap too. Unvaccinated people is from CNN. Unvaccinated people are, quote, variant factories, unquote, infectious disease experts say. Unvaccinated people do more than merely risk their own health. They're also a risk to everyone if they become infected with coronavirus, infectious disease specialists say. Quote, unvaccinated people are potential variant factories. This guy, some nerd from Vanderbilt University Medical Center said. I'm actually really shocked by this, that somebody as just morally upstanding as Theodore Cruz. His dad killed JFK, from what I understand. But that's a little bit of I'm not sure if I approve of that, to be frank, Franklin. I'm not sure I approve of that, to be Franklin. Let's get that going, guys. But even with that, this is a real disappointment that a guy this honest and not a con artist or a huckster or a creep who tricks dummies his entire career would do this. The other thing, I love this studio that this dork sits in all day. Look at this studio. I mean, there's just something so funny about a guy who's just really just spouting his mouth off, saying nonsense for 40 minutes, stuff that's only dimwits would believe. But he's in this very expensive, well-designed studio with this giant LED. I'm here to blah, 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 with this giant industrial light and magic crap going on behind it. And still can't get the views. Dumping so much money into this, no one wants it. All you have to do, even this dope, this snooze, this human Ambien Michael Knowles can get views by just saying stupid crap that dimwits want to hear. This guy is so unlistenable and unwatchable that even with all the ads, even with all the money, no one's biting. No, thank you.
You can French kiss the guy next to you.
I gotta say,
you better watch out, these two guys. He might try to get that tongue. Watch out, he'll get you.
I think the Trump class action lawsuit became much, much stronger this week because of the blatant exercise of power by the Biden administration.
I will.
Man, I don't know how would you live as Ted Cruz? I mean, the word cuck is thrown around a lot, but this is a guy who has been being publicly humiliated like for years. Trump said that his dad killed JFK, said that his wife was ugly, all this crap, and he still has to pretend like Trump is he's going to come out here, talk to this guy for hours and hours on end, a guy who, honestly, just like at an office, if he worked at the reception or whatever, just a minute a day would just be too much for really any reasonable person. He's got to deal with this guy hours a day. This is what you work for, Ted Cruz? And he's got to pretend to love Trump, too. The guy who was just pantsing him and dunking his stupid face in the toilet and all this stuff. But anyway, I mean, people have talked about the Trump lawsuit against Twitter and all this, and it's obviously going nowhere. I'll just read you a quote from Ars Technica. Here we go. Doomed to fail. This was in July. As the Associated Press wrote today, quote, Trump's lawsuits are likely doomed to fail, said Eric Goldman, a law professor at blah, 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 blah. Who cares? Frankly, if you want to read that, you could read all this, or you could just...
You can French kiss the guy next to you.
Who has studied more than 60 similar failed lawsuits over the past few decades and sought to take on internet companies for terminating or suspending users' accounts. The AP story continued with more analysis from Goldman. They've argued everything under the sun, including First Amendment, and they get nowhere. Goldman said, maybe he's got a trick up his sleeve that will give him a leg up on dozens of lawsuits before him. I doubt it. Goldman said it's likely that Trump is instead pursuing the suits to garner attention. It was always about sending a message to their base that they're fighting on their behalf against the evil Silicon Valley tech giants. This might kind of support that case. This is in early July. Trump announced lawsuits against Facebook and Twitter, immediately started fundraising off it. Why didn't
Arun Brown
think of that? This is what I'm gonna just throw any and all morality, moral compass out the toilet, right into the toilet, out the window and into the toilet somehow. Like my moral compass, I throw it out the window and there's just a toilet out there and it goes into it. Because this is, seems like a fun little grift. Yeah, we're going after the thing and we're gonna need a lot of this, guys. Just going to go after people. I'm going to say that David Pakman used the restroom unauthorized in my home. And I'm suing him for damages. And I'm going to need a lot of...
Arun Brown party.
I had not read about this, but this is obviously great. This is just fantastic. Griftopia. Minutes after Donald Trump announced lawsuits against social media giants, the fundraising started. Fundraising email and text blast went out right after. They got right into Aweber or whatever those email marketing software is, and they were like, guys, you hear that? Come on. This is another thing. They got this guy from the New York Post on. And what's great about the New York Post, obviously, is that it's just like an absolute garbage rag. Like it's like something that New Yorkers use to soak up a drink that they spill in the subway. That's what's good about it, is that you're just this thing's so stupid that it kind of is good, But Ted Cruz is such a Ivy League fancy pants that he doesn't get that. And so he tries to spin the New York Post as this prestigious paper because Alexander Hamilton founded it or something. Here we go.
You guys were founded by Alexander Frigate Hamilton.
Yeah.
There's a musical about that guy. He's a very important guy.
Good contribution, Mike. Yay, Michael. Yay, Michael. Yay for Michael. Yay for Michael. You did it, Michael. Great. Woo! So they're talking about censorship, with which, you know, I agree, like pretty much nothing should be censored, yada, yada, yada. You get it. But I just love the idea of like, he's like the Alexander Hamilton started the New York Post, which I don't even know like how true that, like who cares? Because one of my favorite things is the New York Post, when Amy Winehouse died, they did a cover story about it, and it was it was a picture of her, you know, looking kind of messed up, and the headline, big huge on the front cover of the New York Post, the headline was, "Tried to make her go to rehab," and then in big letters, "No, no, no." That's the New York Post. The New York Post is just like openly demented, and they're like, but the prestigious founding like trying to tie it to some like historical, like what their audience think. They're like, wow, the founding fathers, like they love all the founding fathers. I wish I could kiss them on with tongue. And like I think this is what Ted Cruz can't figure out, is that like I think his show, which seems to be not getting as many views as a lot of these other Daily Wire guys, and he, you know, he's funded by the same fracking billionaires and all this stuff. What I think maybe why he's not doing as well is because his show should just be like, he comes out, it's basically he should do like FaZe Rug stuff. He's just like in a pool filled with yogurt, and he's like, I mean, it's me. Like they would, I mean, million views immediately, and he'll be eternal senator. But he's such a little Ivy League skull and bones pervert that he can't help himself. I gotta seem smart. No, your idiot supporters don't want that. It should just be you in your undies running around. His viewership would double overnight if he just shot a shotgun at a watermelon in a parking lot. Even I would probably watch that show, to be honest. Cruising with Ted or something like that, and he would just like drive around shooting at things. He could buy like a giant loaf of like French bread from Walmart and just go out and like hang it up somewhere and shoot at it. So there we go. Totally insufferable. You know what? Another idea for this show, Cruising with Ted. And again, if he does this, please notify me, because I will sue him. I will immediately sue him. And I'll just, you know what? I might just sue Michael Knowles for fun. I don't know. We'll talk about that later. But he could also do like a training day kind of thing where like Michael Knowles, he forces Michael Knowles to drive around with him to shoot things. Michael Knowles is really afraid and scared. He's like, I don't want to. And maybe he's tied up. I don't know. And they're driving around, you know, and Ted Cruz is shooting all this stuff that he bought from Walmart. And maybe he like forces Michael Knowles to like drink a beer for the first time or something. He's like a Dennis Hopper he would basically be Dennis Hopper in Blue Velvet. So guys, is it going a little bit off the rails for me? Yes, it is, sure. But that's what happens when you watch things that really shouldn't exist like this. You know, if you think about it at all, things that really are sort of a monument to the failure of our country and our society. Ted Cruz and his program, and just Michael Knowles the person. Guys, thank you so much for watching this. And don't remember, and never forget that
You can French kiss the guy next to you, yelling abolish the police.
Okay? That option is always open to you. Thank you, and please, bye-bye. Hey everybody, and thanks so much for watching this video. Like all the other YouTube and podcast perverts, I now have a Patreon. Every week on this Patreon, I'm uploading 2
Exclusive.
Patreon exclusive shows. They're like real shows, more produced, more edited.
A behind-the-scenes show where I reveal all my secrets, and a show where we go deep on an important topic that you will want to know about. Also, you get the daily and complete live show audio-only feeds. And at the top level, for only 25 bones, you can become a producer. These people that you're seeing right here make this program possible. Without them, nothing. It goes right in the toilet, right in the toilet, and in the trash, and we set it on fire. Ooh, these are the most beautiful people of my whole life. Look at these people. Are you kidding me? Yeah, right. Good, nice try. Good, nice try. Good, nice try. It's these people who make it work. So please, for Christ's sake, become a patron. Bye-bye. Love you.